Starting, hold on.
Every gun on this planet, you best believe, is gone.
You almost saw us before we...
What
happened?
Hello.
What'd you do?
Oh. Back.
There we go. Make up fake words to this, DJ. Go.
Hi.
The beat's a little faster. Yeah. Sorry, I can't keep up with it. Wait, here it comes.
All right, you got it, Sam. Take it away.
The show is about Supergirl. And we're joined by ROXY.
Hello. That's good. That was good. That's our new theme song.
I wanted to cry. I wasn't breathing the whole time. I was just trying to keep up with the really fast
honestly,
beat.
I was like, when's he gonna run out?
Yeah. When is he gonna run out? Hi, everybody.
If you weren't paying attention, I was just kind of mumbling until a word in my brain.
I want to thank everybody who's joining us live today. Do we want to just
jump? He's going round 2.
Okay.
Sorry, no, that was the stream. That was the stream playing at that time.
Do we want to just go ahead and jump into the audio?
We do.
3, 2, 1.
We done do. Hello.
Hello.
It's Sam.
DJ.
And Roxy.
Welcome to SuperTV Showdown, the show, the only show we can get all the... No, probably not the only one. There's a lot of us now.
I'm so bummed. I was just going to say that was the best intro we ever did, and then you just botched it.
Bungled it. But it's the best superhero review show you can get.
That's our new band name, the Bunglers.
The Bunglers.
It sounds like something like an innuendo.
It does. The Bunglers.
To bungle someone.
Like bunghole.
Yeah, your bunghole.
I don't know if bunghole's sexual. Is that a drug thing? Like a bong hole?
I don't know. I'm going to think about this one further.
Oh, wait, let's stay quiet and think about it. Hold on.
Good air.
Okay, that's enough time. Okay.
There it is.
So did you figure it out?
No, I didn't. But thank you guys for joining us, and let us know on Twitter using the hashtag SuperTV Showdown what you think bunghole means. But let's get into it because we have a very special episode today because I know most of our shows are off the air. But thank you, Moxie. We are able to get a little early access to some Cloak and Dagger, the new Marvel exclusive freeform show,
which premieres tomorrow night. As of this recording, premieres tomorrow night. But so we're going to do a little spoiler-free discussion of the first 2 episodes.
Don't you worry, we're not spoiling Cloak and Dagger for you.
Yeah.
Don't you dare worry.
Don't worry, we will not tell you about that town hall and cameo that happens.
Promise to God, you won't. We won't talk about
Blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah.
Blink up. Will Blink's in there too?
Yeah.
From the Gifted TV show.
Oh.
How did that happen? We're still not sure.
But again, not spoilers. Yeah. So don't worry. But we are going to be talking about some news and Supergirl Legion. Check in with those 2 Lucifer episodes that came out that were like tacked on. And DJ, just give a shout out to iZombie because we finally watched the finale. Why not? But let's open with some news.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of news. Do we want to start with the fun one or the not so fun one?
The fun one.
We're going to start off with the fun one. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse gave us a full trailer.
Full trailer, because last time it was just a little teaser, just mainly to show off what the animation looks like and what the movie interpretation of his costume will be. And I think this is actually one of my favorite trailers. This week has had a lot of trailers come out for.
It has. It had Lego Movie, Transformer, or Bumblebee,
Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Yep.
Mortal Engines, but no one really cared about
Boy,
that.
didn't watch that.
No. It's seriously crap. But this one isn't. This was actually really cool because mainly Miles' dad and Jake Johnson as Peter Parker. And so this movie is going to be dealing with not just Miles Morales' origins, which is already a big story, but also the Spider-Verse event.
The
whole thing.
Yeah, so when it says Into the Spider-Verse, they're not joking around because I should have pulled an asset because I don't know if I can go to the end of that clip. But we see Gwen. We see Spider-Gwen at the end of the trailer.
Someone pointed out that might be the fastest a character's been created to popping up in a movie. Like that,
maybe.
Someone said Bane popped up in 93? 94? In comics.
And then
97.
Everybody's
she
favorite,
looked awesome.
Batman and Robin. She did look awesome. My only critique of the whole, I have 2 small things about the trailer. One is they changed Spider-Gwen's shoes. In the comics, it's more like a sneaker design. In this, they're ballet shoes. And I don't know if
maybe she has daintier feet.
Yeah, it just feels like an unnecessarily feminine touch to the character.
Got it.
The other thing, love the trailer. Thought it was great. I am slightly worried that the movie might be too stylized. That a whole hour and a half of how stylized it is. That I hope not because it looks great. I'm just worried because the motion, instead of normal motion blur, it's like this 3D effect that's happening.
It's kind of like Lego motion blur.
What would you want? Only some of it to be stylized?
Just maybe. I'm worried that it's just a lot.
It is a lot. Even watching that trailer, your heart's kind of and your brain's tracing and your eyes are twitching.
Yeah, and so really it's like
we were kind of having a little seizures when he was playing.
Drugs,
so it's like
whatever.
it's super cool, and I have faith that when the movie happens, it will be the right amount. It won't be too much. It's just like in the trailer, it's like, wow, this is very stylized. So
When's
it's like an hour and a half. It might be December.
December's like 16th, so a good way through December as well. We're barely getting it in this year. But I did notice, this could just be me paying too much attention, like following the wrong thread. But it seemed like when he got bit by the spider is when it became more comic booky and it became more stylized.
That'd be cool. That'd be super cool.
Like if you look at like some of there's like text bubbles next to him, and there are his thoughts. They're like, I'm just
which
a
is so smart.
This is puberty. And you can see some effects of like from comic books, like as he gets hit by the car and whatnot.
It's super hard to tell because we are watching a trailer that we think is in chronological order, but we don't know when scenes are actually taking place. So how do we know what is the stylized when it comes in?
Yeah. In the trailer, we see a brief look at Green Goblin, which is
the
mostly the ultimate one. He does look like he has the cap, which I'm all for. And we see very briefly Prowler, which also looks kind of like a fusion of Ultimate Prowler, and because it looks like he has a cape.
And someone pointed out that Leaf Schreiber, am I saying his name
right?
Yeah.
He is
Ray
cast
Donovan
as Kingpin. And you actually see, if you watch it again, there's an explosion in the very beginning of the scene.
Yeah.
In the movie, and there's a bigger figure, and that's Kingpin.
That's dope. I've always wanted to see Kingpin, because Kingpin originally was a Spider-Man villain. Mm-hmm. So that's super cool.
Oh, interesting.
And Jake Johnson as... well, the two highlights, like I said, Jake Johnson as older Spider-Man is pretty great. That he is just Nick from New Girl, but as Peter Parker. Like he's has the same mentality. He's wearing sweatpants, and he's not a great teacher. I think that's really cool. And Brian Tyree Henry is a really, really
as the dad,
good voice. He's a really good talent.
I did not spare a single thought towards Miles' dad when thinking about this movie.
Really?
And now he's my favorite character. Yeah, like seeing the trailer, I'm like, this is great. Yeah, he's amazing.
He's so funny.
Yeah, he was awesome. With the I love you moment at the end, it's just like the most embarrassing, relatable, but him being a cop just brings it up next level.
My other favorite joke is when Peter Parker asks Miles if he has money.
That was
that was really cool. I think this is the perfect way to introduce Miles to a wider audience, and specifically also just having it be animated as well, because now there's not any confusion like with Venom. Does it fit in with the main universe? You don't
have to think about it.
Any of that. You just get Miles, and also because
he actually addresses that head on in the trailer.
Yeah, and the fact that it is animated and it gets to be its own thing. Sure, Spider-Gwen's in here too. Guess what? It sounds like, wait till Comic-Con, it sounds like we'll get more. You'll probably get Silk, which is great.
Silk would be cool. Spider-Ham seems like right up the alley. Whatever is going to make the coolest action figures, they're going to be in the trailer.
Yeah, and I think that's just a really cool way to tackle a bunch of characters that people are passionate about and want to see. But if you were to try and fit them into like something like the MCU right now, it would be confusing. Because honestly, it's kind of confusing in the main Marvel comics right now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So this is just a great way of like, hey, here's these characters you love. It looks great, and you don't have to worry about continuity or anything. Let's say, if DC was like, hey, we wanted to have two versions of our DC universe. Maybe make one of them animated so it's easy for us to tell which one's which. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just throwing that out there.
Roxy, what do you want from this movie?
I think they're giving us exactly what I want so far. I'm not too worried about it being too stylized because I'm liking the style. And I think that it seems fun. I want it to be fun.
Yeah.
I really hope we get Spider-Woman Jessica Drew. I think it'd be really fun. Silk, I just love her costume. So
are you a huge Silk fan? I didn't know that. Why did you point to him when you said you might get your Silk?
Yeah.
Silk's one of has the coolest costume in my opinion. Do you know what she looks like?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really dig the little bandana she wears on her face, and also the webs come out of her fingertips, which I also think is cool.
Cool. I don't know how that works, but it's super cool.
Oh no, if you think about like she also makes her costume out of that, so I don't think we can.
It's super cool.
Yeah, really cool. So, and it will work in a cartoon.
So that actually makes perfect sense that she makes her costume out of that.
But it like has colors and symbols and stuff.
Who knows? But
it's there.
Hey, if you start picking it apart, how does Peter fit this? Like in Spider-Man: Homecoming, he starts making it, and it starts becoming web in the beaker, and I'm like, how do you get it? What do you do after that?
Did it just keep filling that drawer?
Was that an accident? Yeah. Like
He's a busy boy.
Point is, comes out of the fingers. It's cool. Let's just roll with it.
It'd be cool to have Tom Holland do like a voice in here, and if they got the voices of the other two Spider-Man actors, it'd be really fun.
I think it was Josh. Somebody should probably correct me on this. I think it was Josh Keaton that did Spectacular Spider-Man, which is still my favorite on-screen iteration of Spider-Man. So that'd be fun.
Would you recognize him really quick?
I mean, maybe. I love that show.
Yeah,
I like that. It might be challenging because he is a voice actor, so it could still be him and be super different.
Oh yeah, no, and not that it's a bad idea. It's just like, I wonder if you'd be able to tell quick.
I did say to Sam that I was a little bit bummed. Is Jack Johnson?
Jake Johnson.
Jack Johnson, musician.
Better together.
Mike Falzone.
Jake Johnson is, as cool as that is, as Mr. Johnson, as cool as it is that Mr. Johnson is the voice. I was kind of bummed that you have an opportunity to like have Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield be the older. It would just be a fun nod to the history of the character.
Yeah.
But
no, it's
Sam's
not
not on board.
I get what you're saying.
If you get a nod to Dancing Spider-Man from Spider-Man 3, perfect.
Yeah.
That wraps up all of Sam Raimi's movies perfectly. And then you get...
That's the summation of all of them.
I don't know what. You just get a lankier one. And you're like, that's Andrew Garfield over there.
Well, I was kind of thinking maybe if you did have Spider-Man, maybe have it would have been cool to have Emma Stone maybe voice her.
That would have been really dope.
But I like Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah, her voice sounded really good. I almost didn't recognize it.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize it.
Well,
yeah, and also it's just a great use of, because for most comic book characters, their success, Deadpool's actually a great example of this, their initial success is significantly based on how cool their costume is, and all these characters look so cool. Like,
that's a big week for Haley.
It is. Spider-Gwen's costume's so great. Miles' comic costume's cool. This version looks even cooler.
Yeah, the spray paint and the sneakers are a really cool
Looks
addition.
great.
And I like, if you guys, I won't ruin this joke because it's from the comics and it's really funny, but you see him wearing like what looks like a really bad knockoff Spider-Man costume.
Yeah.
Like the red and blue. And there's a great joke for that. That's pretty great. And I hope they do that in the movie. But it does seem like kind of like a packed movie for a lot of stuff to happen. Like you're doing a Prowler, that's Miles' origin, and you're doing Spider-Verse. And Spider-Verse is a really big cosmic story.
I would assume that this is going to be Miles' story. We'll get cameos of stuff like Spider-Gwen so that she could have her own Spider-Verse. Like, I think they're setting up this into the Spider-Verse brand as like, now it's the Spider-Gwen movie. Now it's the da-da-da movie. You know what I mean?
Which is not the worst idea.
I'm down for it. Roxy's just thinking about it.
No, I'm thinking about it. No, I'm not falling asleep. You didn't ask a question. I'm down for it too. I was thinking about. I'm picturing it all in my head.
I'm excited.
I'm high. What can I say?
Well, let's talk about the other news that is
just as exciting news.
I have more to say about this if that helps.
Oh, what do you want to say?
No.
You might have heard Jared Leto is getting his own Joker film, and if you're like me, I'm like, oh good, they just settled on their Joker origin movie being Jared Leto, so there's no confusion. No, that's not what's happening. The Joker origin movie is still happening separately, but they're also making a separate Joker standalone movie, which also apparently is
the Martin Scorsese produced one.
Yeah, so there's the Martin Scorsese produced guy, the director of The Hangover, that one. Possibly starring...
What a weird combo you just said.
Possibly starring Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
And it was the Leo DiCaprio one too for a second, right?
Yeah, but no longer.
Yeah.
Then so this is a standalone Jared Leto one that apparently he's also producing, which is also apparently probably different from the Harley Quinn Joker movie that was in the works.
Yeah. No, you kind of sound like him right now. I feel like, do you guys remember right after Suicide Squad came out what Jared Leto was saying and like how livid he was about his scenes getting cut?
Yes.
And he was kind of like bashing DC and was really upset about the cut and really upset with Air and just going in.
Yeah, he was going ham.
And then, as time's gone by, he hasn't really let up very much. Like, he just kept kind of going and going. And then when they were announced a Joker standalone film, not his, the Martin Scorsese one, he was like, wow, guys, this is a big bummer. Like, people are going to be very confused about my character. Aren't I the Joker? And I feel like he just kind of bitched and moaned and complained enough, and DC was finally like, yeah, we're giving everybody else a film. Sure.
That is how you get stuff in life.
If you're one of the most successful performers in the world. It's interesting, like, from a business standpoint, I kind of understand it, because Jared Leto is an Oscar winner, right?
Yes. From Dallas Buyers.
Joker is one of their marquee characters. The movies he's traditionally been in are some of the biggest moneymakers they've ever had.
You understand doing two simultaneous,
not necessarily that aspect, but
Joker
the idea
films.
about doing a standalone Joker film, and again, I think this is one of those moments where, as a fan, it would benefit DC to have a strong Feige figure, because
we all could.
You know what? Truth be told, we all could.
It would really be helpful.
Because I don't think something like this would fly. And it would be challenging. Like, like the Marvel characters that Marvel could have done this with are owned by other companies. You know what I mean? So, but I just don't think like something like this would. And I think as fans, like my natural reaction is, fuck you, I don't even want a standalone Joker movie, period. I don't need that in my life.
So you two?
Yeah.
It's not more appealing?
Yeah, so it's not more appealing. But also I still think people that are not me, that don't really read the comics but have a general understanding of the characters, will buy tickets in droves.
Yeah.
I think it will make them...
Both of them?
At least one of them. It will make them a lot of money. Honestly, I don't know if the Martin Scorsese, Joaquin Phoenix one will make a lot of money. That sounds like we're trying to go more arty with that one.
You think the Jared Leto one would make more money off the bat?
Suicide Squad made money.
It's
Jared
weird.
Leto's a bankable star.
He is, but not everyone was like super excited about his portrayal of it.
Take off the face tattoos, fix the teeth. People won't care anymore.
You could definitely do both of those things really, really fast and make it. And
tattoos are super easy. I'm assuming his skin is crazy toxic. I'm assuming those tattoos get burned out like that.
Yeah, he got those that week.
Yeah. So I think you change those aesthetic things. I don't think his performance was his performance wasn't any different than what's his face on Gotham, and everybody goes apeshit over that guy.
I will tell you,
Cameron Monaghan.
I had a nice pint of Stella Artois before I went in to see Suicide Squad for a second time, and it made his performance so much better.
I liked it. I don't have a problem with it. I don't ever understand you people who do.
You people?
Yeah, who are you calling you people? I'm calling you Jared Leto haters, you people.
So then why are you against this? Because it doesn't sound like you're on board.
I'm against DC announcing 15 movies in a month when they don't know what they're doing, and 2 of those movies being the same movie with different actors. I don't understand.
Agreed.
That's why I'm against it. It's not like if they had right after Wonder Woman or right after Suicide Squad announced, like, okay, we're going to do a Jared Leto standalone Joker film, and that was the only movie that had been announced a while that was a little obscure. I would have been like, that's a horrible idea. I probably would have been like, I don't really want this, but okay. But there's been like 80 of them. Like, all the way from originally with Gotham City Sirens, now being Birds of Prey, which is in the same camp. And then we got a Nightwing movie. We got to take it away from us. We got a Batgirl movie that was supposed to be separate. Joss Whedon's gone from us. Don't know where that is. Where's the Batman film? Is there going to ever be a Man of Steel 2? Suicide Squad 2 is supposed to be happening as well. Is Leto going to be in that? I mean, just any kind of slate or direction. Anything.
By the way, side note, Batgirl movie, I think the daughter from Americans should be Barbara Gordon. I think she'd be really great.
She would be dope.
I think she'd be really good. I mean, she was playing college age in the last season, so she's probably like 18. It'd be a younger Batgirl, but anyway, you don't watch the Americans, so you don't know, but she'd be great.
No.
Yo, she's so good.
Yeah, she's really talented.
I agree with you that they should stop announcing things. They're like, it's like the friend who's like, you know what, man, I'm finally gonna do it. I'm buying a boat, and you're like, what? Do you have like money for it, or do you have plans? What are you gonna do with it? He's like, no, man, come on, just like the idea of me buying a boat, and it's like, all right, man. Or they're like, we're gonna start a restaurant, and it's like, okay, and then like 6 months later, nothing's happening.
Sam, how about I'm starting 2 restaurants with the same name at once?
But one's
That's
Hot
a
Topic,
franchise.
One's Hot Topic themed, and one is basically Applebee's.
Yeah.
Same name though.
Same name.
Yeah. It's just I mean, even Marvel seems to be backing off doing the whole big slate thing. They're like, it'll be announced when it's ready, when it's good to go.
Okay, but they've earned our trust a little more.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. I think other big franchises could take that. You don't need to. I don't know. It's interesting to see what's going on there, because it definitely doesn't feel like the top brass, from an outsider's perspective. It doesn't feel like the top brass understands. They just know Marvel's making all of the money, and so it's like, we have this thing, let's do something with it, as opposed to like having like, oh no, here's how we do it. Mm-hmm. It's just like, well, we have this thing, we should make things. Joker makes money, let's just fucking make this movie. And part of it is, no matter where a Marvel movie falls on the spectrum of quality, because of that trust they built, the fan base is there. You already have a built-in missionary team going off and talking about why people should care about this movie, or who the fuck Thanos is, and why you should give a shit. You know what I mean?
Too many people know who Thanos is now. It's not cool anymore.
It's not cool. I knew about who Thanos was before it was cool.
Just saying. We made those grimace jokes like 30 years ago.
Do you think that if I snapped, which one of you would it be?
Me.
I mean, if you go...
I did the Thanos quiz. I die.
You died. I did it on my phone.
I died too. I did the quiz too.
I did it on my phone and I died, but I did it on my computer. I lived.
Oh,
you know, that's
there
not,
it is.
I mean, once you die once, it's like...
Nah.
Yeah, but I wasn't accepting that for an answer.
Peter was like, oh, I took the quiz again, and this time I don't vanish. Did you hear the thing the other day that the reason he reacted quicker was because of his spider sense?
I like that.
No, it's a decent enough explanation, which was probably just more of a pacing thing. But
yeah.
I think he improv something that the directors liked, and that's why they had that scene just to really drive home that this is a sad moment.
Yeah.
Bringing it back full circle for a second, I do want to remind everybody that I'm a massive, massive DC fan, and I am so happy and willing to eat crow and be wrong if both of these Joker movies get made and they both rock. Then I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And somebody had more vision than I.
It would be such a weird time at the movie theater to go, and it's like, was this the Joker movie we already said? It's like, no, this has nothing to do with it.
To be fair, what are the odds that one of these Joker movies never see the light of day?
I would say 90%.
Yeah. Which one do you think is the least likely to see the light of day?
Can we also say what are the chances of both of these movies not seeing the light of day? I'd say 90%.
I would say 50. I'm with Roxy, 50%. I think 90% one of them doesn't see it. Both of them, I'd say it's 50-50.
Yeah.
Which is still pretty high.
I think the more likely one to actually get made is the Jared Leto one.
Agreed. Yeah. Just because, like, especially once you start throwing in names like Joaquin Phoenix, it's like, oh, that's probably never gonna happen.
He's always in talks for a role, and then he never does it because
he's too busy doing like serious shit.
If it is Jared Leto, it's no longer a standalone movie.
Yeah.
So there's that.
But I don't know if they need. I don't know. I honestly, as a fan, it's like let's do Aquaman. Let's see Shazam. Let's see how those movies do. Let's do Wonder Woman 2. The director doing Suicide Squad 2 is the same guy that did Warrior.
Yeah, Gavin O'Connor.
And he did The Accountant, which is, from what I hear, fine.
Which one was it?
The Accountant with Ben Affleck, where he's
sorry. Which DC movies?
Suicide Squad 2.
Thank you. Yeah.
And so I think Suicide Squad 2 will at least be fine.
Oh yeah, Mel Gibson was like on board for a second to direct it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, it's Gavin now though.
Yeah, and I think.
Whose house I've been to, humble brag.
Boom. So she's seen the storyboards. No, and the cast is good for that movie. You know what I mean? So I think it'll be fine. So it's like, give us that. Batman, whenever it happens, whoever's in it, it's Matt Reeves, right? That'll probably be at least, at the very least, be fine.
Now,
if based
Ben
on Planet
Affleck
Apes,
wants to be back in that.
Fine, as long as he wants to be there on camera, I'm cool either way. So get a couple of those out, and then maybe you can make like franchise announcements and shit.
It would be weird if like Shazam's like an A+ and Wonder Woman 2's an A+ and Aquaman's like an A+, and it's like, no, these are the three guys we bank on now. Like imagining what Marvel is, like at least Iron Man and Captain America started to get more popular before their movies came out, a little bit in comics.
Yeah.
But even
I do think all three of those movies are going to be good, honestly.
But and
good to at least just like really enjoyable.
Yeah.
And that's where Marvel in its cinematic universe found its success, because Iron Man, Cap, and everything were at least B-listers prior to that, and now they're the ones that are selling all the shit. So it's like, I think there's merit. And honestly, as much as I love Superman and Batman or whatever, it's like, let's give the other characters or some light of day. Let's get Jaime Reyes' Blue Beetle movie.
I have
that I could get behind. Yeah.
This is such a dumb comment to make, but I'm going to make it anyway.
Go for it. We won't judge you.
Kind of crazy in 2018 that you could make a bad movie. Like, with as much money as you need, with hundreds of millions of dollars, and every one of the best human beings working on it with source material for decades, that you could make a bad movie. It's just so wild to me.
But, making art's hard.
It is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you that sometimes you're just like, or it's more impressive of how bad it can get. Like, there's movies that teeter
like
where
Green
it's
Lantern,
like,
well, but it also doesn't.
How did this happen?
But I mean, it's also, it's tough to say, because movies that most people agree are bad still make a lot of money. Transformers Bumblebee trailer out this week. Bumblebee looked a lot cooler. And
Starscream looked really cool.
Looked really cool. Still been super burned by that franchise, so it's hard for me to get excited.
Transformers 5, like, how can that movie exist?
Because it made money.
Sir Anthony Hopkins is in it.
Because it made
money. For a lot of the movie.
He's a motherfucking sir.
Point is, making art is hard. Speaking of which, I'm almost at 50% at the relaunch on chaostheorycomic.com.
Ayo.
And you guys are on Patreon, which means that you have access. I'll do another post today, so you guys can click really easily. You guys have, if you go to the Indiegogo, cool thing about Indiegogo is you have secret perks. So you guys have special discounted perks with extra bonus rewards, like a signed print of the three of us as our favorite Arrowverse characters. Well, I mean the lead
dope.
ones. Yeah. So you can check that out. Also, I'm like, if like three of you get the $40 special one, I'm at 50%. And Sam and I talked a little bit. And maybe if I hit 50% today, maybe on the Patreon, we'll post an image of the project we've been working on that we've been talking about, the thing we've been building.
Also was part of the conversation. I didn't say anything, but I sat here, so I was cool too.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, if you want to see what we've been, just a peek, just a sneak peek. It's not the full thing, but if you just want to see a sneak peek of what we've been working on, maybe
Did I see that picture today?
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah, so maybe see if we can get me to 50% on
I'll give you guys a hint. It's not only black and white.
Wow. You're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
There's colors there.
There are colors.
Mm-hmm. Also, well, I mean...
Now you know what it is.
Hold on. I think I got an asset for this.
You got an asset? What do you got? What is that?
See, I want to see if this works.
You wanted to...
I want to see if this works.
What is it?
He wants to try some...
So I put my hands up, playing my song.
No, didn't
work.
Didn't work. Oh well.
We tried. There's a different way to do it, but
point is, you can hold on. Let me try it this way.
Not in my hands.
Vamp, guys, vamp.
Sorry.
Moving my hips like so I put my hands up.
Roxy.
Yep.
Did you want to give a shout out to your girl that's leaving DC?
So you can choose. You can choose the 3
Diane
prints,
Nelson.
and then the signed print. And
yeah.
If you're watching the video, that's what's on.
Audio listeners, just click on your headphones.
We scared her
Yeah,
away.
there's probably be a link in the audio episode.
Yeah, just click your headphones
to the Patreon thing, and there will be a link in the post, and then I'll post something on Patreon to make it super easy for you guys. But seriously, your guys' support on the Patreon allows us to do this, which is super great, and the supported stuff like the Indiegogo helps us make art, which as we've determined is hard. Anyway.
Yeah, very very hard.
Yeah.
You pointed at me after anyway, so I feel like I have to speak.
It was Diane.
Oh yeah, Diane Nelson. She peacing out. We talked about it before on the show that she was leaving indefinitely.
Yeah.
Although DJ doesn't think indefinitely means what I think indefinitely means. Turns out she's just leaving.
Yeah.
Because it's very close timing to the Joker movie being announced.
Yeah, she's like, cool.
I don't want to be the president of DC anymore.
And it's tough, man, because it'd be so like. It can be done. It can't, like, especially with you see the success on TV. It's like there's these characters. There's a way to do it. I would argue. Kevin Feige even said like before Justice League came out. He's like a year before. He's like, I want to see it do well because Justice League inspired us when we were making these Avengers movies. And I think what he was specifically referring to was probably the animated series about how Batman and Superman had their own cartoons, and then the Justice League thing happened. And I would argue Marvel's tone is actually more traditionally. The Marvel movie tone is more traditionally the DC tone. Mm-hmm. So it could work. It really could. And so
I'm excited for when we do our episode about repitching the DCEU. I have a pitch that has been making
When's out? What's that?
We have to pick a day, but I've been...
Can I be in it?
Of course. We might have a panel, because there's another guy who wants to hop on it as well.
Cool.
Nightwing.
What's that? Who's it?
The guy who plays Nightwing on the Nightwing series.
I thought you were making a joke.
No, it's literally Nightwing.
That's cool.
But no, I have a pitch and it's making me froth at the mouth. But speaking of frothing, let's talk about the new
I don't know where you're going with
premiere show from Marvel. Kids are frothing for it. There you go.
Oh.
Coming around. Cloak and Dagger, because Roxy is MVP of the week. Also, I've learned the term GOAT. Is that greatest of all time?
Yeah, are you kidding me? You didn't know GOAT?
I didn't know what it meant.
It sounds like an insult if I'm being honest.
I thought it was sexual. I was scared.
What did you think when they were talking about Muhammad Ali all these years? He's GOAT.
I've never heard that before.
You never heard he's GOAT?
No.
GOAT.
But this week, Roxy's GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
The GOAT.
Roxy's gotta go.
I feel like my dad tried to
Roxy's
explain a meme to me. Because she was able to get us some screeners for
the
Cloak and
Freeform
Dagger.
show.
Yeah. Episodes 1 and 2, we'll do spoiler-free reviews of it. Just overall thoughts. Roxy, we'll start to you first. What did you think of?
I love it.
You liked it?
Yeah, I love it. This shows like this are made for me. So I will acknowledge that there are many flaws, and I will, without giving a spoiler, even admit like something major happened in the first episode that I totally missed, and Sam and DJ both caught it and were like, that was like a 15-minute part of the episode. How did you miss it? So like I'm not even really paying attention sometimes watching these, loving them. They just make me smile. It's teenage drama with superpowers.
Yeah.
So that's dope.
And these are cool teenagers. These aren't lame ones at math club. These are fucking drug addicts.
Yeah, these are the ones that find those secret clubs that definitely deal alcohol to 16-year-olds. Yeah, they're so cool.
Yeah. I will say, again, spoiler free, that I'm a bigger Dagger fan than I am Cloak in
the show. Yeah.
In the show so far.
Mm-hmm.
But, young actors, I think, take a little bit to adjust.
I think by episode 2, Cloak or Tyrone's character started to loosen up a little bit, and I started liking more. Also, a lot of the stuff, it felt like the story started really like kicking into gear in episode 2. Again, no spoilers, but that's how I felt like I was like, oh, here's my interest in this show. And
the end of episode 2 was like, woo.
That was really cool. It's a cool way to end it, and also when they start to explore their powers, the way their powers work, it's very interesting.
The way the powers are cool. There is an aspect to their powers that I think we're all confused about.
Yeah, but I think they're gonna have to
differentiating whose or what.
Yeah,
and maybe it's the same for both of them.
Yes.
But why can they both do that thing?
Yeah, and I don't think you'll be able to miss it once you're watching it. It's interesting. I like the way it's shot. It definitely feels very different than any other Marvel show.
Why did I keep thinking it was commercial after commercial though? Like
it's shot like one.
It's shot like commercial. Like maybe it's because we don't know the characters for a lot of new faces, but damn, it looked like a commercial.
It's interesting. After the second episode finale ends on a like a note that gets me very interested for episode 3. For the most part, though, even though I was enjoying it, I didn't know if it was convincing me that it needed to exist. Like, it's like, I don't know why. Like, you watch something like Jessica Jones, you're like, oh shit, I know why this show matters. Luke Cage is like, I know why this show matters. Even Daredevil, like, I know why this show matters. This one, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like, I get why this show's happening. Going on, I'm like, I don't really know why we're spending time here. Like,
it felt very similar to Runaways to me, which I loved.
Yes. I felt like, for someone who didn't love Runaways as much as I wanted to, this one's already more enjoyable for me.
Are there dinosaurs?
No, but you got teleporting teens, and you got teens that can make
light daggers.
Light knives.
Yeah.
Light knives.
You know, like Nightlife, but it's Night Light.
Like it's light bright night.
That was dope. I have one of those.
The Nightlife, light bright.
Well, what if you could stab people with it?
Well, then I would be a killer.
So, you could just be a stabber. Depends on where you stab them.
Yeah.
You ever seen Oliver Queen? You ever seen Arrow? He doesn't kill everybody.
No,
he maims them so bad.
Yeah.
Some of them probably can't walk.
No, he used to kill everybody.
Oh, yeah. Well, like, I'm pretty sure also an arrow through the leg will not make you the best marathoner.
Who is your guys' favorite character on the show so far?
Tandy's been... She's also just... You made a good point.
Star.
Yeah, she's a strong actress.
So good.
I did look at her IMDb, but when we were watching it, and she'd been in one Disney original movie, maybe a Disney show.
Sounds about right.
She's 20 years old, the actress.
She's got a bright future ahead of us. Get it, Dagger?
I think she's a star.
Yeah.
She's gonna take off from this. She's got that subtlety to her, and she's gorgeous also.
Yeah.
Which is not weird for me to say about a 14-year-old in any way.
And she's 16 in the show.
Did they really say that? Did
no.
They make it? Yeah. See, that's we kept saying that because teenager in my head always goes 16. That's what I.
Yeah, man. Whenever I watch these, I've always been an old soul anyway, so this isn't saying much. But whenever
when you were a teen, this made you uncomfortable.
Probably, actually. No, a lot of this teen stuff. It's like watch these teens do drugs and drink and have sex. It's like, ooh, this is making me uncomfortable.
Yeah, there was one very long shirtless scene that was like.
Yeah, that's underage. I know the actors of age, but the characters of underage, and I feel like you shouldn't be trying to do whatever you're trying to do. Show, I feel like it's not okay.
Yeah, I think this show incorporated parental units better than Runaways has done.
Agreed.
And I was excited to see that. We'll see if that continues, though.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's interesting that we live in a time that these characters are getting a show made about themselves, because they were always like D-listers. It's like they'd show up in a crossover, or usually to help Spider-Man out. Like, they'd give Spider-Man a crisp high five as he was going off to do something way more important. And now they have a show.
I read them in the Ultimate Universe because they were important supporting characters for Miles.
They were part of a new version of the Ultimates with Miles, I want to say.
That's cool. That sounds right.
Okay.
I didn't read the Ultimates, but that sounds correct. I'm excited for the rest of the series. And I like they are very creative with how they show the powers working.
Agreed. Do you think so far better or worse than Inhumans?
Don't even. Are you on Corolla crack?
I'm sorry. Did someone watch all of Inhumans? Did they have a great Hawaiian adventure with the kings and queens of Adelan?
I don't know the answer to that, but I'm assuming it's yes.
You didn't. I did. I put in the effort.
I did too.
Of course it's better.
I watched Lucifer. Does that count?
But you like that show.
Yeah,
I watched something intentionally bad. I watched something...
What does that say about you, Sam?
Well, somebody's got to stay behind and hold the door open so everyone can get through, right?
Are you that person?
Hold the door.
Hold the door.
Hold the door.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see...
Are you caught up?
Yeah. To what? Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it.
It'll be interesting to see. He liked it when we watched it. Now he's decided he doesn't like it. Sort of.
Fine. Well, would a
harsh,
loser watch Inhumans? Didn't think so. Cloak and Dagger's better.
It'll be interesting to see.
Barely.
It'll be interesting to see where they go from here, and it's interesting to see that I think we're finally getting to the point where like we've talked about it, but definitely not all of these shows are made for everybody.
What do you
like? They're not. They're in. It's 1,000% okay. You know what I mean? Like they're not.
This is so for me.
They're not. Yeah, but they're not. But they're not necessarily assuming that like Daredevil fans will go check out Cloak and Dagger. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it'd be a really cool show to have like a little cameo from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have dealt with Roxxon before, and they dealt with the Dark Force dimension, which is combined with whereas Cloak gets his powers.
Yeah.
Question mark.
I'm still confused about the Roxxon part of this episode, but we will.
Yeah, there's a moment at the beginning.
Corporate espionage.
There's a moment at the beginning that kind of is the start of their origins, where it feels like a lot of weird things align in a very strange, like almost dreamlike way.
But the cinematography of the show is actually really top notch.
And the music.
And the music's really good.
Shot calling. 20-inch hymns, 40-inch pollen.
You're the soundboard. You're nailing it.
Wait, did we all agree who our favorite character was? I think I was asked.
I think we all said Tandy.
Okay.
Yeah, Tandy for sure. But I am.
I really like another guy that I don't know how to describe who he is without saying his relationship to Tandy.
Liam.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The character Liam.
There
you go. He's actually really good too, and most of the adult actors are pretty good. They're setting up. By episode 2, they introduce another character who seems to be important later.
Yeah, they do have
they
do pull like a CW, ABC TV show thing where it's like, I'm a detective. It's like, you're way too fucking pretty to be a detective. Like, you're definitely like an Instagram model on the
really hot.
Not in my experience.
That's how they get the info, DJ.
Boom. But it's one of those just like, you don't have that job. I don't buy that.
You don't know.
You know what? I don't know.
What do you guys rate this?
For putting both episodes
Am I allowed
together,
to ask that?
Yeah.
Usually DJ asks that.
Yeah, I don't think I have like ownership of asking that. Yeah.
But if I put both of those episodes together, I give it a 7.5, and I mean that like in the best way possible because the music's really good, but they are a little slow.
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of moments, kind of like you mentioned when we were watching it, but like the Netflix shows where like because they have more episodes instead of like a movie, they have more hours to tell a story than a movie does.
Yeah.
There's like slow scenes. Or just repeats of scenes over and over.
Yeah, you'll get like a 5-minute scene of somebody just thinking about something. It's like, all right,
well,
well,
like you see the stakeout, like the full stakeout.
Yeah, it's like, all right, well,
I didn't need that.
Yeah,
but I like the groundwork, the foundation that they're laying for each of the characters' worlds and how they're gonna combine in future episodes.
And I like that the city they're in looks different, feels different.
They did shoot it in New Orleans, and it does take place in New Orleans, so that's cool.
I like that too, and especially, and it's just a very easy way of like, why doesn't Cloak and Dagger show up for Infinite? They're in another city. They wouldn't show up. You know what I mean? That's just an easy way of like, it's harder with the Defenders because it's like, no, it's literally they got their back door and it's right there.
Yeah, they shot in that part.
Yeah, why aren't they there?
I think Luke Cage got shot in that part.
Yeah. So the more of like, no, they're just in another part of the world. Mm-hmm. Fine, great. I would give it a little bit higher. I'd probably say like a B-. So what is that? Like a 9.9, 7.8?
What? B-?
B-.
That's an 8.
An 8. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I give it a 9.
You really dug it.
I love it.
But
it definitely. Like that teen I don't blame you.
For the people getting this early and haven't watched it yet, it's definitely worth checking out. And I'm 100% going to watch the 3rd episode, and we'll see where it goes from there.
The second one was better than the first.
I think.
Yeah.
It really ramped up in a cool way, and you get the way they like doled out their origin. Like you get like a pretty good sense of like this is their childhood, but also like these characters are more interconnected than you think, and the way they doled out that information was good.
And it sounds like we'll get it sounds like we'll get more of the origin possibly in episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It would be cool to see some Marvel characters show up here.
Definitely.
Who would you guys want to see pop up if you could?
Ghost Rider.
Really?
I don't know. I just think like, you know, New Orleans has a spiritual bent. They spend a lot of time on spirituality, weirdly. I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. makes sense. It's less, I feel like I'm thinking less who I would like to see and more like what makes sense.
You can say both, yeah.
Based on like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would kind of work. I feel like I'm more Runaways, honestly.
Yeah,
I think the Runaways, because tonally it's similar.
That would be a great crossover.
If they made it to New Orleans, those are some capable kids. They couldn't even get on a bus by the end of that season. So if they ran...
But Cloak can teleport, so maybe he needs to go to California for some reason.
How far can he go, though? I'm excited to see. The way his power is shown is really cool.
Yeah.
You know who else makes it to California? 11.
11.
You know, if I don't have to pick somebody in the Marvel universe, maybe I'm just going to Stranger Things.
She doesn't go to California.
Yeah, where did she go?
She goes to Chicago.
Didn't she go to California?
No.
That episode was not good.
Wait, where's it, California?
No, wait. She's in Illinois. Yeah, she goes to Chicago.
I think she goes to California.
So who would you choose, Sam?
Right?
Well, I'll check. Well, since they have ties with Spider-Man, it'd be kind of fun to mention that maybe one of them knows Peter. How would that happen?
I don't know.
Literally no idea. No idea at all. But if they at least got a mention to like maybe a wider world out there.
They are probably the most associated with Spider-Man. So it would be of any of the other characters, so that would be cool.
Maybe even Miles. Like maybe like you can pick a character that's not immediately going to show up in the MCU. So you can say Miles or Jessica Drew or Cindy Moon.
But how are we going to see Miles?
We've got invisible powers, so maybe he's in the show the whole time.
Oh. To be fair, Spider-Man's literally teamed up with everybody. Every character that needed a bump in sales has either teamed up with Spider-Man or Wolverine. Yeah. So like, cool. So did you gave it a 9?
Yeah.
You gave it a 7.5, and I gave it an 8.
Yes, and I'm looking up Stranger Things Season 2, Episode 8.
There it is. So let us know, guys, what you think when the show airs tomorrow. Let us know what you think of Cloak and Dagger and whether you'd like to hear us talk about it more.
Tag us on Twitter at DJ Talks Trash, at Sam Bashor, at ROXY STRIAR.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But let's keep going. We do talk about other shows, so let's move over to Supergirl.
Yes.
Do you have a...
Yes, I do.
Yes. Do you have a...
Yes. Asset.
There you go.
Sam.
Asset.
Do it faster.
I'm researching
here.
This episode was kind of real dumb.
Yeah, this episode, I texted you guys saying 90% of this episode was the worst.
Is it weird to have a filler episode like 2 episodes before your finale?
Yeah.
They did it last season with the whole Purple Children. And
shit, they did.
They did. That was the episode.
This is a habit.
It was right before the finale.
I was so mad watching this, and like, it's not like they said things that I was mad about politically. I was just mad that they said it, and like, why? Why are you the authority on whether or not? It didn't bother me as much on Arrow, but here it was like, why? Why now is your special forces team not allowed to use guns, and that's the resolution? And you guys are not only saying that's what's happening, but you're saying that's what's right. Like. Why? Why is this show get to make
I also feel like they could have phrased it differently too, because I think the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ditched lethal weapons like season 1.
Episode 1.
Like that Icers, yeah.
Chicago.
Wait, but who's in California?
I don't know. I don't know what show
we're in California.
We are in California watching a show that was in Illinois.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I feel like
take a little nap.
I feel like between this, the Arrow episode, and Punisher, I feel like superhero vigilante shows shouldn't be allowed to touch on the gun issue. I know why they're inclined to, but it's like, no, maybe just don't.
It just pokes so many weird holes in your show, especially Punisher shouldn't do it. Arrow really shouldn't do it.
No.
I get it, why you'd want to, and why you'd feel inclined to. Supergirl literally has no reason to, except for they're the one to tackle social issues more than the other shows.
There was so much other stuff going on though with her and her mom and going back at Monel and
they didn't even need to have
this other creepy woman who was following her and like
and also
being paranoid and everything going on at home about Ruby, like the Ruby Sam part of the episode, Sam coming out, that happened in the first 3 minutes of the show. We've been building the whole fucking season for this. How the hell did it just happen in 3 minutes? Like, I could not, I blinked and I missed it. I was like, wait, it's Sam, bro?
You did miss like 15 minutes of the first episode of Cloak and Dagger, though, so it makes sense. You blinked and like 15 minutes went by. It was the slowest blink.
Imagine what happens when I blinked on Legion.
Yeah.
Imagine when you blink when you're driving.
Yeah. I'm not very good driving.
So, also, I don't think we talked about this last episode. How is it that Kara's mom looks the same age?
How is
it that her
Technology.
friend... How is it that her friend that grew up with her is played by an actress that I'm fairly positive is older than her? Also, she was on Game of Thrones. She was Roz, the prostitute that was just kind of like doing the rounds.
Really?
And also, weirdly, that actress who is supposed to have grown up with Kara, but definitely is probably at least 5 years older, is married to a guy that looks 20 years older than both of them.
Because you can marry people that are older than you?
I understand that, but like, it's just
like
a weird...
Thea and Quentin in the Arrow. Yeah.
It's just a weird, like... No, did that strike anybody else as weird? Because Kara's supposed to be... Superman's grown up.
I couldn't track it, really, what was happening. I couldn't figure out who was supposed to be older than whomst.
Yeah.
Are Monel and Kara in love?
They are
Oh, I super don't care.
doing something that it was equally as interesting as the gun debate that was happening in that episode.
There you go.
I didn't
Shouldn't
care.
she have taken out... Wouldn't have this episode been significantly more interesting if Kara had brought Alex with her to visit her mom?
Wouldn't it? That would have been cool.
No, but he needed something from the planet.
Something about time travel with gravity.
They didn't... Wait, hold on. So Cisco's just able to hand you something that can teleport you through dimensions, but the Legion doesn't have on their ring a little button you can push and be like, hey, come here.
Or ask the Flash.
I think that this episode maybe was the worst ever.
It was real bad.
So bad.
But wait, it was...
But I love I love Caramel. That's what they call it.
You've explained that to us every episode. We know. We're just not on board.
Really, Caramel.
Is it the worst episode? I'm trying to think.
It might be the worst episode
Season
ever.
1, Supergirl's still really bad just as a whole for me.
That's true.
Whenever I revisit it, because I've tried a couple times to be like, hey, if I softened up to this, and then so it's kind of hard to. It's
just the
you both did
way some of the frickin' like it was like no, because guns are wrong and cause sadness.
Well, but even on the other side, like Lena's like, well, no, I carry a gun and I need it for protection. It's like, yeah, and so that's why the show shouldn't tackle this, because she's literally been kidnapped by fucking terrorists. Yeah. So no, you know what? Your argument is not representative of most of the Americans that want to carry guns, because they're not getting kidnapped from motherfucking terrorists.
And even having James do it, so you're trying to have
oh
someone of a person of color talking about it.
I'm willing to listen to your side of the story.
It was like super weird, like how accepting he was quick, and then he had this strong opinion, and it was just all over the place. But they're like, if James says it, it felt like what the writers were saying was like, if James says it, since he's a person of color, not a white person, like it'd be okay.
Then
it was
all
just,
right.
But it was just so poorly written across the board that it didn't. It made the show weaker by trying to even tackle this.
And the actors did not believe what they're saying. Like him delivering that line, like, "All right, Lena, I will hear you through. I will listen to your side because I care."
We didn't come back to it.
Like, what the actual frick?
You know what? Yeah. Here's a good part of the episode. Tessmacher, the receptionist, is a particle nuclear physicist on the side, and
now is working for Lena.
And now she works for Lena, but that's just a kind of fun nod because Tessmacher was an original creation for
Donner Superman.
Yeah, and she was the assistant to Lex Luthor, and so that's a kind of a fun way of connecting it back. I think that was the best part of the episode.
I think this season.
Caramel is Kara and Mon-El's ship name.
Okay.
I think this season whiffed it by focusing on the Rain storyline. I feel like
it's a great.
And then solving it in 4 seconds. And then what was that at the end?
She's not fixed.
What was coming from the ground?
I don't know. I think it's too similar to the past 2 seasons we had her fighting Kryptonians. I think it's too similar. I think they should have picked some of the Legion baddies and have them come back in time and have them deal with that, because it's just a more interesting.
We killed Bright. What was
it? Bright.
Yeah.
Remember that toy, Bright?
Breitbart?
Yes. We took him down. Remember Supergirl took him down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What would we rate this episode?
Hold on.
There's got to be a 2.
There's more to say, because I will say I also enjoyed the effect of Sam and Rain getting separated, whatever that was, even though it clearly means jack shit about what's gonna happen in this show. And then also just another continuity error. They're like, oh, what was it like to fly on that planet? And it's like, it's making it seem like you can't fly here, and then she takes off inside that green room.
No, because he gave her a thing.
She has the Legion flight ring?
No, Mon-El gave it to her.
When?
In the episode, he handed it to her and said, you should have this just in case. And she says, no, Mon-El. And he said, yes, take it. And she puts it on.
Okay, good, because I was confused when she flew too, because like, how in what fucking reality does she have her powers?
He gave her the flight ring.
She's not, they're not even close to a sun.
Yeah, he gave her the flight ring.
Yeah,
and like made a big deal and like looked at the camera when he said it.
Yeah, he's like, take this because this is how you're gonna get sucked into the future of the season finale.
There was now who's blinking.
Blink.
I like the one. Well, I brought that to a screeching halt. I like the one moment in the episode where Sam wakes up and Ruby has blue hair, and like you could tell that every mom wants to be like, why the f did you dye your hair blue? But Ruby's like, do you like it? She's like, I love it, sweetie.
Honestly, I've been possessed by
I do not care what color
demon.
hair you have.
So, and then you know what? These guys are just gonna let me go home after this, like that, like,
and not check on us as the two of us are together.
Like the literal devil didn't just fly out of my body. Like I'm gonna go home.
When they're watching something and eating that popcorn or whatever, what does happen to Sam when she drops that glass? What's happening?
Whatever happens.
Happens.
Mm-hmm.
I lost interest in explaining it because it doesn't make any sense. It does. Sorry, I forgot. Rain has 3 demons inside of her. That's how it works because she absorbed the other 2 demons.
That might be it.
Yeah.
So what do we rate this episode?
I feel like I'm
10.
done with this show. What? I want to just notate in the records that Roxy just lied on camera and on the podcast.
I was not under oath. I really think it's.
You are always under oath.
I really think it's a 4.
4. That sounds about fair. I'm gonna say 5 because I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it. I don't know if it's the worst this show. I don't know. 5. I'll go to 5.
But you don't know.
Yeah.
You can't say definitively it's not the worst.
That's true.
My favorite part is that gazebos exist throughout the universe.
Yeah.
The idea of a gazebo, the name gazebo exists, and we really dove into Kryptonian landscaping. Yeah. And
don't you think we saw it? We were just like, God.
Gosh darn it! It's such a pleasure to be able to learn more about that. It's like, remember our crazy high school teacher was like, "No, I don't give a fuck about any of this."
And I don't remember him.
Please stop talking about this. What is it like when Kara goes home? It's like, she's kind of a bore. She gets to catch up with all her friends that
maybe that's the she doesn't leave Argo to like be a hero or whatever. She's like, this is just super fucking boring. So I'm out.
You know, when you
this episode was so bad.
Yeah.
Like Roxy, you've been going to like a bunch of weddings, and you probably have seen people that you grew up with. And you're like, so what do you do now? And like that's what this episode was like. So you got kids, and it's like that's what this episode is.
It's more painful because you don't even know these people, and now we're just watching that.
Mm-hmm. And it's like we could talk about the cool world they live in. They could talk about
understand
this.
Kryptonian more. How about
we go help more people?
Where does food come from?
Have Kara have more than one scene with her mom since it's her fucking mom.
Yeah.
By the way, has she told Clark that fucking piece of Krypton is just floating around in space?
I think she sent him a DM.
Yeah.
Cool.
Remember texting? Texting?
Yeah. What do you rate it?
Even 5.
Okay. Cool.
Well, I thought it was worse than you guys did.
Yeah. So
I got the text before I finished watching the episode.
Yeah. So you might have set our expectations
like really low,
yeah.
and since it wasn't just like absolutely trash,
it was
fine.
A little less than fine.
It was so bad.
So
let's talk about a show that we have more opinions on because it requires more to watch it. Let's talk about Legion. Huh?
I don't know if I have the brain capacity to understand and watch this show. Like, I feel like if you miss something 17 episodes prior, you're screwed.
I would argue.
I didn't mean to mic drop.
I would argue
Sorry, I was
that
the light ready.
that you might not need to. There's stuff that you might be assuming you should understand that you don't necessarily need to.
Like the people with the lockboxes on their heads.
Like the
cows. Who were they? That does kind of bother me that I don't know where.
Sitting around the hole?
Do they work for Shadow King? They're not the monks because the monks died.
You're talking about the ones around the hole?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then had the sick balls.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those fucking testicles.
Does Lenny know who they are?
No.
I don't know.
She doesn't know.
She just came over and asked, and I like that aspect. And then once the boxes were gone, you're like, so I'm gonna open one of those suckers and just like take a peek because they look sealed. So how's it on their heads? I think they're just like a fun aspect because they kind of if I'm supposed to connect any dots at all, the cart that we saw the foot cart that they used that Farouk used to get to the monastery. The nationality of that person looked closer to the nationality of the people.
So maybe he's hench people. He's in.
Maybe he went to the town and just was like.
Yeah, and then they're all on board.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like the visual.
Why there's so many in the goddamn hole?
I don't know. The visual of them climbing out of the hole was super cool.
Was dope looking.
My other favorite visual was when female Carrie was going down the hole.
Yeah.
Although
she was badass this episode.
Yeah, it does make me question how did everybody else get down because it looked like they were just sucked straight down. Yeah. But whatever.
I do like, and I like just the big drain. Like the big drain is stopper is cool, and the bunny on the hook.
Yeah, but why does then she get hooked by that? Is that on purpose?
Oh, it was 100% on purpose to
it's
get
like
her.
Fishing.
But how do they know she would? get caught.
You know what it should have been instead of a bunny?
She was holding it and they pulled it real fast and got caught in her hand.
No.
But it did.
She threw it down and then it like came back.
I was waiting for her to throw it down. She never did though.
Oh really? It looked like that.
I think it would have been interesting. The bunny was cool. It should have been a cat since she's been doing the cat stuff all season.
What if she ate it because of the cat stuff all season?
Boom. The other thing I really liked this episode was the opening visual of. I wish we had a still of it.
I couldn't find it.
David being full Legion from the comics with the hair up, wearing a costume. I'm sure you brought it up. I'm sure I've seen him wear on a cover. Like it's fucking David from the comics, and it actually shockingly looked pretty fucking cool.
It did, and like the labyrinth crystal ball with Sid inside.
Yeah, I'm not. Two things. Still not sure I trust future Sid, especially with what happens this episode. Also,
I feel like that made me trust her more.
I'm 100%. I 100% don't understand what the fucking point was of her episode when they went in her brain, because they keep bringing up like love is the thing we're supposed to be fighting for. Like I'm pretty sure that is not the point she made, even though she says herself that's the point she made. Mm-hmm. But
I don't know. I thought it was interesting, like the fact that he didn't tell her about hooking up with future her, and then her trying to pretend she didn't care about that and watching that.
Yeah,
that's the stuff that I always like gets me at night when I'm like. And I've told you guys this before. Just like, would that bother me? Would it bother me more to have to look at it?
That's a great question. Yeah. It's like, does this actually mean anything? And Farouk exploited that. Exploited that weird gray area of like, technically, there's no reason to be upset because it's literally the same. It's you.
It's you.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Would it bother you if it was the past you?
No, because it's still.
Then I'd remember.
Yeah.
I'd have that sweet memory.
What if you had amnesia?
I kind of want amnesia.
You got it. You're getting my virus.
I overall think I enjoyed this episode, although I think this might. Well, I think this might be one of those things where it kind of depends on, because it's definitely set up for the finale, so it might determine. It might determine how the finale might determine how I feel about this episode. I will say, just because I might crib a lot of thoughts from this.
Oh, so there's 12 episodes.
11. So this was the 10th. So yeah. I read a review on the AV Club. I believe the writer was Alex McLevy, and had a really interesting take on how emotionally challenging this. Like, he makes the point that intellectually challenging, the show kind of goes out of its way to explain things that are happening, but the emotionally, because we literally just watch somebody get emotionally tortured and torn down. We watch somebody literally get tortured, but we also see Sid be emotionally just dismantled by the Shadow King, and that's very challenging. And not necessarily enjoyable TV. And so that might be why apparently the numbers have been steadily just being shed off throughout this whole season.
They get a season 3 though, so we'll see how that works. And also, FX does get more numbers on rewatches. So more than a lot of shows. That's why Americans has lasted so long, because it doesn't like get crazy numbers, but it gets steady numbers.
Exactly. And so I think it's very interesting, because I think it's interesting how much trust the show puts in the audience for us to understand, even though we've spent a lot of time with Farouk, and he with his perspective of how he's not the wrong one, but we've seen how much fucking damage he's done to people, and it's like, 100% he's the fucking devil. You talk about the devil, like this guy is almost literally the devil. You know what I mean? He's possessing people. He's dismantling their perspective on stuff so they're on his side.
Bringing their nightmares to life. He's literally creating demons.
And we talked about it a little bit before the show. I think now, with seeing what he does with the Minotaur, which was fucking cool. I thought that was cool to see. I
like the Vermilions fighting on the ceiling with them, even though you didn't get to see it.
Well, I told you we were watching in the middle of the day, and so it was like just the slightest bit of light coming in through the blinds. Like, I can't fucking see what's happening. Like I feel like I need to black out this room. It's so dark.
I hate that. I think it's too dark sometimes.
Yeah.
Same thing with Game of Thrones. Same thing with
Daredevil season 1.
50 other shows.
You watch that in the dark.
But seeing what he does
with
the Minotaur. I think because at you brought this up way early on in season 2. At the last episode of season 1, he like jumps through a bunch of bodies. I think he planted delusion for Shadow King. When he's trying to get out, he jumps through a bunch of people's bodies. I think he's the one that fucked up the Carrie's system of being able to and have the same body. I think he maybe even just his mere presence caused a delusion inside Ptolemy's head. I think the Minotaur functions similarly to the delusion, although I think that's probably bitterness maybe, that's kind of haunting Melanie. And so he really is, just like the presence of his body created the chattering people, I think he's the one that caused all this dysfunction. He's dysfunction. He's the embodiment of dysfunction.
Fun little Easter egg. This could mean something, but sometimes it usually does. Not usually, but we don't know how it's going to pay off. When the monks started walking around Division 3, the only other person who didn't get affected was Male Carey. And Male Carey was the only person in the group that didn't get, like, body jumped into. And so he is kind of immune to a lot of the stuff that has happened to everybody else.
Interesting.
For no real reason, just that
he's just the best.
He's just really good.
Mm-hmm.
But there were a lot of cool moments, and I like more Vermilion, and I like the idea that there's this tuning fork, and I like David having to deal with, like, he lost control. He really lost control.
That torture was scary as hell, though, and the sounds. It was something about the sounds that were being made, like, oh.
And it's heartbreaking to know that it was Oliver and not the Shadow King.
Mm-hmm.
That the Shadow King had already bailed.
Yeah, but I do like that. Like,
that was gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
But it makes, I do like...
I don't really get it, but...
But, like, leaving, like, it was a suggestion, kind of like how Melanie took out Clark, that's what his name is, at the cane.
Yeah.
They took him out, but she wasn't fully controlled by him yet. It was just a suggestion. So it's the same thing with Oliver. He was just being his jackass self and taunting him because he had no other choice.
Yeah.
Scary.
Oliver.
Go on.
Never before has a boy wanted more. Oliver.
I'll be interested to see. See the way this finale plays out, especially since it wasn't originally announced with 11 episodes. So it's interesting, and we knew we got an 11th episode before we found out we were getting a season 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be very interested to see how the next episode plays out.
I like how Lenny is kind of becoming more of a...
She's so badass. Aubrey Plaza is so badass in that role. Yeah. Like the clothes she's wearing right now, walking around with the gun and everything. It's the gun in
the small box was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Don't you think she could have been Alicia Vikander, Tomb Raider?
Aubrey Plaza?
Yeah.
I don't know if she's that.
I don't know if she could be British, but...
Yeah, also, Aubrey Plaza, I feel like, is more offbeat than
I think she's
Laura.
So badass looking. Yeah, Laura Croft. I was like, her name is not Alicia Vikander.
Yeah, Lara Croft, the Tomb Raider. Mm-hmm. What would we rate this episode?
7.
Ooh.
8.5. I really enjoyed it. I really dug it, and because you brought up a good point with like the emotional manipulation, because I started to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was supposed to. It's like, because we all kind of have these thoughts and these doubts.
Yeah.
And it's like, what if someone really prodded you about it? Like, you can't leave. And you get to just live in the worst moments of your significant other, the person you care about. Like, you get to see them at their worst. And it's like, it would turn them into a monster. Yeah. And I said this before we were recording, but I kind of get the feeling that Farouk might body jump into David, and that's what future Legion is.
Yeah.
When are we see
I'd give it an 8.
Her with the arm?
Who's on?
Our girl's on.
Sid. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. Well, it depends. We might change the timeline. Oh. He might not kill Farouk. So,
Noah Hawley in an interview said it could be fun to make Sid a villain for a season, like not like and then switch it back, but like build her up into being an antagonist.
Yeah, it'd be.
She's got motive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
she's got style.
Boom.
She's got class.
I also like
for a while.
It's crazy that it's near the end of the second season, and then we get the Legion name drop. I don't know if we ever needed it, but it was an interesting
Yeah.
That's the 3rd show this year with World Killer.
Yep.
I'm done with that.
What's the 3rd?
Rain is a world killer.
Yeah.
And Agents of Shield. Oh. Quake was the world killer.
So
Killer of Worlds, world killer, something like that.
We're starting to run a little long, but we wanted to talk about. You checked out those 2 bonus episodes of Lucifer that you left on.
I don't get them. I don't get what happened.
What was the rough story of it?
I'm just confused on when they filmed them and when they were supposed to be released, because they had nothing to do with what happened at the end of the episode of the finale. Mm-hmm. So maybe they were supposed to be somewhere earlier in the season. I don't know. But we changed storylines, and basically what the main story is is the quirky girl on the show who does their forensics. That's what it is called. She has had this imaginary friend forever. We've never heard about her. Now we start hearing about her. She won't call her imaginary friend. She keeps calling her a ghost. We find out she's calling her a ghost because apparently the friend told her, "I'm not an imaginary friend. I'm a ghost."
Yeah.
And so then at the end of the episode, we find out that it is Lucifer's sister, because nobody else can see her but this girl, and then Lucifer can see her, and we figure out she is the angel of death, which is
what'd she look
just nothing to do with anything that we're talking about. So that was one episode.
Yeah.
These air like back to back on one night, or is it like week to week?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I found them on my Xfinity. I don't know where they were.
I think they were kind of dumped back to back, as from what I understand.
Then the next episode was in the VO of God, who definitely was somebody famous, but I
got you.
okay, and it's an alternate timeline, like sliding doors type thing.
Okay.
Like what if this thing doesn't happen, and that thing is Decker's dad doesn't die. So instead of becoming a cop, she becomes an actress, and
Classic.
It's like, would she meet Lucifer anyway? And then she does. But it had nothing to do with where we were. So it wasn't like they were bad episodes. It just was like, this did not leave me any more fulfilled. In fact, it made me have more questions, and I really almost feel like maybe they shouldn't have released them, except as somebody who works in this industry, there were a lot of new characters on the show, and there's nothing more devastating than booking a role as an actor, going and actually filming it, and having that work never be seen. So I'm happy for the performers that their work got out there, but...
One kind of cool thing about God, really quick, what was the character name for the ghost girl who was the sister? Did they give you her name? Was it like Charlotte, Mazikeen?
No, Mazikeen, no.
Ella, Trixie?
It was Ella's friend. Trixie's the daughter.
Linda, Ray.
Ray, that was it.
Oh wait, this actress looks familiar.
Yeah.
Charlene Yee? Oh yeah, she was in Paper Heart. I remember her, and she was good.
Stuff. She was quirky and weird. I liked her.
Fun fact: played God. Can you guess? This person is very important to Lucifer, and I know that sounds really vague. Also, really important to Sandman.
Huh?
Neil Gaiman.
Oh,
nice! Neil Gaiman voiced
That's
God.
great.
Yeah.
I could
That's
tell
actually
by his
really
voice,
great.
I think I know who this is.
Yeah.
But that's awesome.
I didn't know. I wouldn't recognize his voice.
I think you would be like, this sounds like somebody I should know.
Yeah.
It's a very prestigious voice.
That's amazing.
That's
also,
really cool.
good news there was some good news this week about American Gods. Some smart decisions they're making that give me confidence about the future of the show.
Good.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So again, it was no fault of these episodes. They just obviously weren't supposed to be the two final episodes, and it was like...
They should do a spin-off show where the Sandman teams up with a cop to solve murders.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
individually, I'd probably give the episodes both like 1 to 7, 1 and 8, but for their placement, like 5s. Cause
Cool.
Why? Blah, blah, blah.
Also,
sorry.
Yeah, it was kind of like adding salt to the wound a little bit.
I do that to all my wounds.
They should have put that in the DVD release or something. Just had these as bonus things.
Yeah, I don't. Did they aired on TV?
I'm gonna guess they did. Yeah. Weird.
I don't get it.
I also saw, and we talked about it last week, but I saw this iZombie season finale, and
you were not as pleased as I was.
It was it was fine. This season,
CJ looked at the clock and was like, "How long do I have to?"
it
was fine.
No, it was reminded me. It kind of cemented my feelings overall with the rest of the season in that it's iZombie, so it's as good or better than pretty much anything else on CW. But this was not the best season of iZombie.
Yeah,
this was an overall like.
What about Living Major though? Were you happy?
I was happy with that.
That was cool.
That was cool. And I just feel like iZombie is the only show I watch that I was like, oh shit, this could have used more episodes. Because their plots are so big, and so especially this season with introducing New Seattle and all that shit, and especially introducing like, hey, here's a girl that is immune to zombieism. 2 episodes later, she's gone. We're moving on. It's like this show actually could use more time
or less. We either needed more of that girl or way less of her.
Yeah, especially since the payoff of her I did not care about at all. Would
you have cared if Liv had taken it?
Yeah, because it would have mattered more to the show. Those were the weirdest wedding vows ever. Like, I know you really wanted a baby. Yeah, I sure did want a baby.
Why were they so sexual?
And
now I'm gonna go home and bone my husband.
But not have a baby because we can't. Oh well. It's like, what the fuck is even happening right now?
Especially because, and I felt like that part was a little rude to the world because there's a lot of women and men out there who cannot have children. Yeah. So why, like, I don't know.
Don't worry, she has a magic orange brain that she can eat.
I was excited about that. I was happy Liv gave that to her because that's so Liv.
Yeah. It was good. It was good. It's just not what I expect from iZombie. Yeah.
Well,
we get another season that wraps it up. Hopefully we've kind of cleared the table a little bit. Also, nobody ever really like that Robbie had a moment of like, Liv, what you were doing was teaching humans and zombies that they could work together. It's like, was that what's happening? Because I thought Liv was just creating a food shortage. That was my understanding of what she was doing, and nobody ever really called her out for that shit. Except for the head of Fillmore Graves, who we clearly decided was just straight up a bad guy.
Yeah. What are they going to do with no brains now, though? Nothing's getting shipped in.
I think it's very interesting. The Major is going to have to team up with shit. What's his name? Yeah. Blaine, because they hate each other, or at least Major really hates him. Because as we forget,
but I like that the way he did it was like handshake, like you will be the statue in the center.
Yeah, that was another thing that we could have used more of. Was like I guess Blaine really did make up with his dad and was cool with him, which was like, what?
I didn't feel that way when his dad sent him off.
So maybe if we had more episodes, we could have
had
more.
Bye-bye, Robert Napper. Just do bye-bye.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting. Blaine is a character we like to root for. He's very charismatic, but let's not forget he did murder teens. So
yeah. So
he's not meat hooks and stuff. He's not a good dude.
I still want him with
Peyton? No, Robbie.
I want Robbie for me. So
there you go. All right, fair enough.
And since you guys both talked about shows, they're like your individual. I'll just say, been rewatching The Office. Still good. Okay, so
I started Barry.
Nice. You like it?
Yeah.
How far are you? It gets better as it goes.
6 or 7 episodes in.
Oh shit! Well, then you're basically done.
Yeah. Okay. I think there's only 8. I like it.
That sounds like a conversation we have to have.
Yeah. She hates it. But what do you guys
I like it better than Supergirl.
What do you... Well, good. But what did you guys think about all of these shows?
Yes.
Let us know your thoughts on Cloak and Dagger when you get a chance to watch it.
Yes.
Hashtag SuperTV Showdown. But also just tag us on Twitter at Sam Bashor.
At ROXY STRIAR.
At DJ Talks Trash. I almost said my name. Yeah, and
I
then,
can see it.
Yeah, and then there will be links in this episode, and there will be a link on Patreon for the special secret perk you get for Chaos Theory Zombies vs. Dinosaurs Volume 2. And also again super close to 50%. And when we make it, maybe I'll post a little sneak peek of what Sam and I have been building, constructing, working on. And maybe we can keep doing that after, maybe once we hit 75% or something. Maybe you'll get to see another sneak peek. Who knows?
Whoa.
Who knows?
Little tease.
Bribery.
Little tease.
Yeah.
It's dope as hell.
Everybody likes just
super cool. Yeah, and we've been and we're constructing it, so maybe you'll just get little pieces of it.
We'll send you little pieces of the construction.
Yeah.
All the trash. Construction.
Yeah, exactly.
You get all the boxes from the construction.
Yeah.
You're good. Roxy, YouTube. You want to plug that?
Oh yeah, youtube.com/ROXY STRIAR. Maybe I should talk about Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah.
That actually sounds like a really good idea.
Or not.
You can talk about that. I'm Sam Bashor. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
It is end. Bye.
It is end.
It is end. Bye.
Avitazen.
Bye-bye, Danny and Ulysses. Guess who are the MVPs? You guys are, because it was last minute. And you're great. Thanks for joining us.
MVP.
You guys are going to get this tonight. MVP. Goat. Goat. What's month goat?
MVP.
Goat. We love you guys. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.